every marketing meeting with the producers, directors, actors, how do we tackle the trail? How do we tackle the reviews?
I have had calls from people which say that हम तुम्हें ban कर देंगे, हम तुम्हारी entry बंद कर देंगे, हम तुम्हारी job से तुम्हें निकाल देंगे. I have got calls from people, तेरे को चाहिए क्या? ये ले check ना, तू डाल दे positive review.
Had presumably given some monetary stake to some people, and they were showcasing these reviews on their national news channels.
That is wrong.
While the person, the actor, is reacting to it, assumed that this is North India's perspective.
Yeah. Marketing spend के नाम पे corporate bookings होने लग गए हैं.
Yes.
For films,
Yes.
where self-buying of ticket is happening.
Yes.
To create a perception.
The effort to do everything else other than the movie and the storytelling and the acting. That goes to shit when all your conversations and your things are about this. Then
how do you make a good film?
How do you make a good film then?
Yeah.
Trust me, those were the guys who used to make films because their effort was, अगर ये theatre में नहीं चली तो I'm done.
Yeah.
We need those kind of, I won't say risk takers, but we need those kind of people to say, I'm making a film for the audience.
Yeah.
That's my point of sale. Everything else is a bonus.
I think as national media, as influencers, as everything, whatever you call, we have been
leaders.
glorifying the successes of South and failures of North. Hi guys, it's me Himesh, and today I have with me Varun and Anmol, and we are here to discuss everything that you want to know about cinema. So, it's so good to have you all here. It's like-minded people sitting together to discuss cinema. I think it's going to be a lovely conversation. That's what I'm looking forward to personally.
Hoping so.
too much pressure already.
So let's start this by discussing Pushpa. We all have seen it. Let's start with you. What did you think of Pushpa?
Apart from what you've already said.
Apart from what you have already said,
No,
now that it is doing the kind of reactions that it is getting. So
No, I definitely have mixed feelings about it because I wasn't really a fan of the first part because it felt like it was only developing onto what we can expect from part 2. So there was a lot of development stage happening in part 1, which I felt I had to wait 3 more years for the ultimate feud to take shape.
Yeah.
So for me, it worked till a point, especially when it was an ego tussle between Fahad Fasil and Allu Arjun. What I slightly got frustrated with was the screenplay. There's a Japan portion of it which is not really explained much in the screenplay. It's alluded to being a part of part 3, but there's no reference to it. And then what I felt was Bhavar Singh Shekhawat, which Fahad Fasil portrays, I felt he was introduced as a man who was unpredictable and almost batshit crazy. Yeah. And he became slightly comical to me in part 2, which I think fizzled out the intensity of the feud for me. And then I feel they went in overkill mode in the last 40 minutes or so by introducing a new conflict, a new villain, and I think it was the character of Pushpa overriding the storytelling. I felt the character became too strong where mass action set pieces took precedent over the story. So for me, the end felt almost like an overkill. And I was discussing this with a friend of mine who was speaking about Agnipath, and speaking about how the portion of Vijay wanting to protect the honor of his sister is a consistent theme while Kancha is the main villain. So you don't lose focus of it. Whereas this almost seemed like another plot itself rather than a coherent story. So that was the frustrating part for me slightly. Allu Arjun killed it though. So I must say the silver lining for me, despite me not really loving it, is I saw a man absolutely dedicating everything to a role. So kudos to him for that. I was just not a fan of the screenplay.
Okay. No, it's a movement-based film. Basically, I think what I have learned with respect to judging these kind of feature films is that it's never about the story or screenplay. It's always about having those 6 moments which work and the film works. Like when you look at such things commercially, there would be a good entry scene, an interval block,
Pre-interval block.
yeah, the climax,
yeah,
and
yeah.
3-4 other things with 1 or 2 good songs. So I think that is what is setting the film apart from many other factors.
So I'm assuming you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I watched it multiple times, and I know why it is doing what it is doing, because it is crowd pleasing cinema, playing to the gallery. And
so, it's very interesting. Very recently, I was witnessing, I'm sure Anmol would have, RGV and Sandeep sir talking, Sandeep Reddy Vanga and RGV talking, and they said something which I always thought wasn't true. I always believed, and picking up a leaf from what he's saying, story is prime important. People come in the moment you say once upon a time, you have everyone's attention.
Yeah.
Films are stories. I mean, the story. But what they said, and I look up to both equally. How much I look up to Sandeep Reddy Vanga, I look up to RGV. Even today, and I can very proudly say, like, we talk and we discuss a lot of things. They said story is not important. Now, I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree, but a very interesting point of view, where they said people come in for the experience.
Yeah.
You pick up any love story, you pick up any action film, eventually it is going to be that one emotion.
Yeah.
There will be some antagonist. How the protagonist overcomes the antagonist is the story.
Yeah.
It is the experience. Are you making them clap? Are you making them happy? Are you making them sad while they are watching it scene after scene? Is what somebody will say ki I had a wholesome experience. Now this is what they said. I mean, quote unquote. I to first very quickly answer, I mean, ball by ball, whatever Anmol said is what I felt while watching. For me, the high point of the film was, irrespective whether it fits in the story or not, was Alu sir doing that Tandav.
Yeah.
Followed by what Rashmika's character does. In terms, like, for me, I was just smiling, and I don't know how many of audiences would have felt that. It was just seeing a love song between two people in a sari. I found that very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Of course, for me, the last 20 minutes became a bit of a overkill, and I'm only talking as an audience.
Yeah.
I think the one person who has to lose the most in this having honest conversation is me. So, but still, I'll try and be as honest as possible. But yes, what happens is towards the climax, even I felt abhi thoda as an audience, कि ये थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो रहा है with him biting and all. But what he did with that sequence, followed by what him and Rashmika did, for me, literally. So imagine taking away this from Pushpa. So that's what I like about films and cinema. You really don't know what touches whom.
Yeah.
And it moves on. So for me, it worked, but it worked to an extent for sure. Yeah. While I was coming in with an entire suspension of, disbelief that, okay, I'm in, show me. You are jumping, you're fighting, you are entering the screen 10 times, I'm all in for it.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not thinking of coming out of Pushpa with a message. I'm absolutely fine with all of that. But still towards the end of it, I felt underwhelming. And yes, Fahad Fazil, I really wanted a more stronger face-off between them, because it's like the clash of titans. Here he was almost, he very rightly put it. I was talking to somebody in the morning and I used the same words. He was almost like a comic relief. If you notice, there was no other comic relief. If you generally see the template of South films, there is generally a side hero or a side hero ka dost who's doing that one-liner.
Which is something Bollywood films also had in the 70s, 80s and 90s, which has gone missing. Basically in terms of the screenplay pattern. There was always a Johnny Lever or a Paresh Rawal or someone.
But talking about story, Himesh, agar aap dekho, we can literally come up with the film's name also if we think collectively. In the 80s, there have been enough films where an actor, your main protagonist, is sidelined from the family. He ends up saving the daughter of the family and the family accepts him.
Yeah.
So it's not that this is also for the first time. It's just the presentation and execution.
Yeah, it's a moment-based.
Absolutely.
Basically, we are in the era of moment-based cinema.
But I'll tell you, my frustration comes from Sukumar is known for his screenplay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you see his entire filmography, if you just see Rangasthalam before
God.
Pushpa, its screenplay is what made it such a impactful film. And for me to disassociate from that and then be like, no, this is a separate Sukumar film, I think it became an Allu Arjun movie rather than a Sukumar movie. And that's what slightly broke my heart.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Right.
Adding on just one point to what he said, that Rangasthalam is one of those rare films where even after doing an S.S. Rajamouli film after that, people consider Rangasthalam as Charan's better film. So somewhere, and that is a rarity.
Yeah.
So for somebody to achieve that, so he's absolutely right. It comes from the storyteller. What do you expect? Like when you do a film with Raju Hirani, there are expectations.
Yeah.
So it's not just the actor, and so well put. It's actually maybe it's become more of Allu Arjun's film than the director's film.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's for Pushpa.
Okay, but you know, now this is a conflict which often I face while watching a film, while reviewing it. You know that the film is catering to a certain section
Correct.
of audience. The film has opened and it is doing massive business.
Right.
Now, how do you judge a film in such a time? Do you face the conflict that a majority of audience is you know, rooting for the film, and then there is, you watch the film and it doesn't fit well with you?
You know, I think there is a huge issue with the discourse in wanting to fight and convince someone to agree with me. Okay, the situation of me and you being civil with each other while disagreeing with each other can also exist.
Yeah.
So I have huge clarity about understanding that this might be popular, but this is my perspective. We can agree to disagree and argue for the merits and demerits about the film. Sadly, what's happened is with discourse, people want extremes.
Yeah.
You either love it or you hate it. There can be no in between, like in Pushpa, where I acknowledge the great aspects of it. But for me, holistically, it probably didn't come together.
Yeah.
But this is nuanced.
Yeah.
And people don't want to listen to nuance. They want you to celebrate it and, you know, think of
which
it as
is
a
fair.
masterpiece,
Yeah.
you know. So when you don't speak in extremes, people find that frustrating because they love headlines.
Yeah.
My entire point is that everything should be open for discourse,
Yeah.
but always present your opinion
Yeah.
independent from the pressure of what the popular
Opinion
you know
is. Yeah.
is trying to tell you. And then see, you're used to it because you're massively active on X, and everyone's going to label you as a PR or marketing firm for any other actor,
Yeah.
dependent on you liking or hating a
Yeah.
film.
True.
But what you can do in the long run is keep your credibility and, you know,
Stay true to what you
stay
think.
true to what you
Yeah.
are, and that's why people tune into you, listen to your perspective, because there is a genuineness
Yeah.
that comes with it. Where in that process you'll get lots of galis and abuse, but that
so-
comes with the trade.
Yeah.
So you deal with it, but you move on and make sure that you at least try to
Yeah.
keep that same credibility and honesty in the job.
Intact.
But on that note, I would want to tell both of you that when we market films, and there are these conversations that happen in every marketing meeting with the producers, directors, actors, how do we tackle the trade? How do we tackle the reviews? I think what has happened, especially post-pandemic, is that audiences have become so smart. They were always smart. We always keep on saying they've become so smart. Is that they are able to see through very easily. So what he just mentioned about genuinity. I mean, the reason the three of us internally decided, the only common factor, none of us are friends since childhood, none of us have known each other since a long time, but the only reason the three of us thought we should meet, I mean, there is no individual gain or monetary gain that we're going to have. It's just that I think the way we come across in our respective jobs, we are genuinely passionate about it and it shows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason we discussed, and at the drop of the hat, we said, let's do it.
Do it, yeah.
There was no thinking of he has a channel, you have I'm saying this for the audiences to know. So it's literally like, you know, doing it because for the love of cinema that we do, and maybe because of that we are sitting and talking. It's just that we have put cameras where three movie buffs are sitting and just discussing cinema.
Yeah, with some food.
With some food, which is always there, as colorful as it looks. But to answer,
Himesh hasn't credited money to your account.
not really.
Arey.
It's the other way around, Jammy. I am supposed to credit money. Supposedly, the marketing and the PR team needs to credit money and do that. But that's not happened. And I think that's the reason today a lot of people follow your channel. They might agree to disagree or disagree with you. Same goes for you. But there is some, and I can say this honestly, there's some sense of credibility that both of you have gotten within the industry and as an audience both.
Yeah.
So if there are people calling and telling you change it, it means you matter.
But Varun sir, I'll tell you, the main thing that I've learned in the process is also being, also learning and adapting in probably faltering in this journey also. probably going wrong in not or having preconceived notions before a movie. You know what's become slightly scary for me is because I actively watch the marketing run of movies before the release. They often can make you have preconceived notions before you watch a movie because you have seen interviews. It's created an idea in your head about the actor and the project, which makes you have feelings of negativity already before stepping in. So I think it's important to also self introspect, understand that it's not going to be a perfect journey, but always be open to other people's perspectives because nothing's worse than arrogance and being like shut off from opinions.
That's the only way to grow in whichever field you are. I think if you're open to just have a discussion and see where, and you're introspecting at some level. Like for me, we were just discussing off camera, there are a lot of campaigns that I felt I could have done way better. If I always feel that, oh, this film didn't open because of this, I did my job very well, or that film...
You can't find reasons for...
And the film that opened, I did it all, then I'm done. And I'm so glad he mentioned about the promise because I really take my job very seriously where a lot of people still feel marketing is on-ground activation. That you do one big event, array marketing. The reason I reached out to Anmol for the very first time was because number one, I could see the genuinity. Secondly, he used to use the term marketing at the right places. A lot of times he used to credit the posters, the trailers, he used to call them as marketing material because that is what is giving you a promise of why you want to go and see the film. Tu Jhooti Mein Makkar and Animal, same actor, same year. Chandu Champion, Bhool Bhulaiya, same actor, same year. So, I mean, that's probably the next conversation we can have is who takes the credit when a film works or a film doesn't work.
Ideally, but
it has to be that. Otherwise, you know, it's very easy. Everyone who feels that a film that opened at this number, let's wait for the director's individual next film, that actor's individual next film, and we'll know.
That's
where everyone stands. So yeah, that's
true. But have you all felt the intolerance in the industry for feedback? I have had calls from people which say that हम तुम्हें बैन कर देंगे, हम तुम्हारी एंट्री बंद कर देंगे, हम तुम्हारी जॉब से तुम्हें निकाल देंगे. I have got calls from people, तेरे को चाहिए क्या, ये ले चेक ना, तू डाल दे पॉजिटिव रिव्यू. I have got those kind of calls and I'm like कि नहीं. Why does a film do number? Is it because of what an individual feels about the film, or is it because people at large have an interest to watch the film? It is because people at large have the interest.
I think, Himesh, it's been time immemorial. Rohit Shetty sir's previous all your films, Singham, Golmaal, I don't think they were review critic friendly per se. They've done the numbers.
COVID के पहले actors, producers, marketing agencies, PR agencies, they all used to be like laugh at reviewers. अरे इसने तो खराब review दिया, देखो फिर भी picture चल रही है. And अभी क्या हो गया है? Please अच्छा review दे दो.
It's an impact of influence, See, they considered us to be irrelevant at one point of time. I remember, you know, Himesh, this is also pre-social media era where even the journalists were hating on these new kids in the block who are uploading videos online, who have, formulated coherent sentences to articulate their thought, and they couldn't adapt to the new change. So 30 years in the industry, and imagine like these randos land up, and now people are more interested in their opinion rather than theirs. And what's happened is, with that growing influence, these guys have realized that the audience is also tuning in for them and understanding like what they have to say. And you know, the worst thing has happened is actors now have come to a point where they're like, यार पहले audience बहुत forgiving होती थी, पहले audience ना मान जाती थी, मजे करती थी. It's just your lack of adaptability that is saying that, you know, they used to agree with mediocrity and celebrate it. Now the fact you're sniffing it out and people are calling it out, they're like, how do I hush this guy? Check click. Whatever.
But you
whatever
also
they're
got
doing.
the threatening calls.
So I'm telling you, with Hindi cinema at least, it's been understated for me, where it's been alluded to, where they want a particular thing. It hasn't been as rampant though, because I had a huge rift recently with a Kannada film that I won't name, and they wanted to literally delete all the reviews that were there. And to the point where when the producer was asked, like, why are you banning reviews? Why are you copyright striking them? they said, I'll do anything to protect my movie.
अच्छी film बनाओ ना तो
नहीं, but Himesh, imagine the confidence. The confidence is, I will do anything. So you are against free speech.
Yeah.
You are against discourse. So imagine if the producer, the stakeholder itself doesn't want a discussion about the movie. What does it say?
No, I think people have become more insecure. Varun, you would be the right person to put a point, because opinions किसी को लेना ही नहीं है. यार मैं अगर आज बोल रहा हूँ तो इसका मतलब ये, I'll give you an example. I didn't like Gadar 2. ठीक है? I personally didn't. The film is a blockbuster. Now my review.
Correct.
Is my review.
Correct.
But does it mean that नंबर आ रहे तो मैं वो नंबर को अंडर रिपोर्ट करूंगा?
बिल्कुल नहीं.
Does it mean that I won't celebrate the success? No.
In fact, I remember we worked on few films where you have not liked the film. You have called me up and said also I have not liked it. But it's done great numbers. You have reported exactly
I will
those
celebrate.
numbers.
So if a film is doing well, why is there no clarity between the stakeholders that यार इसको नहीं अच्छा लगा, but इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये अपने against है.
Correct.
And you're also not judging the people who are loving the film.
Yeah,
You're not
exactly.
saying that
Exactly.
this kind of taste is wrong.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah.
You're saying this is my perspective.
Yeah, this is my perspective, but I'll celebrate if it does well.
Correct.
But the people have become so intolerant, so insecure, and the fact that I'm saying this might even irk some people that वो guilty conscious होके अगर देखे तो.
Correct.
But people have become insecure of everything in life.
I'll
they have
tell
become
you,
controlling.
If you're saying from a creator's point of view, yes, I'll tell in fact both of you, because I do end up being in those discussion rooms where all of this has been discussed and we are creating what and how we need to pitch the film. What is happening is, and I'll just try and give you an insider's perspective, not trying to convince anything, because I completely agree with your ideology. That's why we all are sitting and talking. But what happens is, when, let's take a producer, because we just mentioned a producer. From his point of view, there was general case and scenario, somebody who came to him with a story idea, or he had a story idea he loved. I hope that should be the starting point of any filmmaking. Otherwise, what happens is there's an actor who said, let's work together. We'll figure the story out.
That also happens.
But in whichever way, the producer has put in a good amount of money. Fair enough. Now, imagine there are about 250 plus films that release every year, if we talk Hindi, out of which genuine successes are 15 or
maybe
lesser.
10.
Maybe 10. Now, tell me, the other 240 people, did they set out to make a bad film?
See, no one will set out to...
Correct. So, intention-wise, they all said, let's make a good film. But every year, imagine, every year, almost 98% people go wrong on their gut. That we thought this will be good, but it isn't. Now, the same feeling will be carried till the time the audiences tell them it's wrong. But again, I'm not saying I'm justifying, I'm just giving you their psychology. So what I understand where that statement comes, I'll do anything to protect my film, because what a producer thinks or anybody associated with the film is like, हमने इतनी मेहनत करके, you would have heard that a lot. And see, everybody works hard. It's not that just because you have worked hard, I need to applaud you. Their point of view is, give audience, we have made it for the audiences. Give the audiences a chance to say it's bad. What I feel goes wrong is when even the audiences tell you it's bad, you then tell the audiences you don't get it.
Which is another issue. Again, that's the intolerance which I am talking about, which has...
So that's only grown. Also, what has happened, I think, with the advent of social media, as even Anmol said, before that, there was no way of getting to know what the audiences felt. You know, it's a double-edged sword. The irony is today you can literally manipulate the narrative to an extent. Eventually, it is what it is. I don't remember a single film, and please help me add, Anmol, do you remember any film that ended up doing very well just because it fed a lot of money to the reviewers or it over-marketed?
No, I'm telling you, it's so insane that the same movie that I'm talking about, which was striking out all the reviews, had presumably given some monetary stake to some people, and they were showcasing these reviews on their national news channels.
That is wrong.
While the person, the actor, is reacting to it, assumed that this is North India's perspective. The movie is bombed terribly, but imagine the delusional world you want to create and sell it to the audience thinking that they're dumb.
And
They'll
they had
accept
some
it.
100 crore day one poster also there.
वो तो हर picture का आता
Now,
है.
Rana Daggubati was saying they're all shams.
There was one film called Kabza. That film did probably 30 crore on day one. They gave out a 100 crore poster, and I'm like, so see, this 100 crore poster. See, I'll give credit to our film industry, the Hindi film industry, in this sense that in 90 of 100 cases, we are very honest with our numbers.
Yes.
See, there'll always be a 5 to 10% gap between the actuals and reality, which is fine. But when it comes to the reporting of numbers for South Indian films, I don't know how, but there are so many fakes.
So which comes in. It's always one-upmanships, and again, I mean, without naming, but that happens. That for me, it is not about how well my film is doing. It is about my previous equivalent. I need to just better him.
Yeah, that's the issue, and
that's sad. And also, just completing my previous thing is what he mentioned and what you guys are mentioning now. That is unethical and wrong. Where you see, you take money and you try to create a fake perspective.
Yeah.
I am not even commenting and debating on taking money, giving good reviews, bad reviews. It is, but if it's a job, it ends. Matlab, people see through it. The point is today everybody understands why is it that some people wait for their reviews, and for some people don't even regard of what you are saying, and you can see that in the comments happening.
Himesh, but just to add to that, is the digital releases they could somewhat manipulate the discourse through their PR. कि बहुत अच्छी चल रही है डिजिटल में, he's changed the game, free of cost है, और उसमें because you can't equate a number to it,
benchmark of success there's no.
But I'll tell you the funniest thing. So suppose you have not liked XYZ film and you put it out. ठीक है, पहले organic comments आएंगे कि you are right, you are wrong.
Correct.
Then after some time, there'll be bots which they'll put in. तेरे को फिल्म जज करना नहीं आता है, ए तू कौन है, तेरे को तो वो पिक्चर अच्छी लगी थी, एंड उसके बाद में एक और एडिशनल लेयर आएगा,
एक्टर कि इसने तुझे बोला होगा ये डालने,
वो भी आएगा, एंड उसके बाद में एक और लेयर आएगा जहाँ पे ये सब एजेंसीज या बॉट्स को बोलेंगी ये रिव्यू के पोस्टर्स लो और डालो कि तेरे अलावा तो सारे रिव्यूअर्स को पसंद आया है. नाउ द गेम इज ये पीआर वाले ने वो रिव्यूअर्स के साथ शायद बात करके वो पोस्टर बनवाया, एंड फिर वो उसी पे पैसे डाल के वापस वो परसेप्शन क्रिएट कर रहा है कि आई मीन व्हाट्स द पॉइंट ऑफ दिस. एंड it's funny.
And you know, AI has not become that advanced where you can't sniff it out. Where you can see the verbiage, you can literally see the permutations and combinations they use. You can see that this is all PR.
It's the same set of. So if you go in so I'll give you a very funny example. Recently, one of my friend was abused and trolled by the bots. Now every person who was trolling him in the comments below were the same set of people who had watched I Want to Talk. So they watched I Want to Talk. There were some 50 accounts which reviewed I Want to Talk, and now those same 50 accounts are trolling him. Which is a giveaway कि भाई मतलब ये लोग I Want to Talk वाले एजेंसी के साथ काम किए, जो भी डिजिटल एजेंसी होगी, and now they have been hired by that agency too. So it's funny. And you were talking about, have there been cases where marketing spend can change the course of. So there's a very new thing which has started recently where you must be aware, I know you will shy away now and you'll be like, but there's a thing called marketing spend के नाम पे corporate bookings होने लग गए हैं for films, where self buying of ticket is happening to create a perception. आज your picture is tracking at 6 crore.
Correct.
What will actors do? एक काम करो, मेरे acting fees 25 करोड़ की है, आप उसमें से 5 करोड़ काट लो, मैं 20 करोड़ ले रहा हूँ, वो 5 करोड़ की आप टिकट बाई करो, मेरे कोटे में से 5 करोड़, he will ask the producer कि आप भी 5 करोड़ डालो, हम लोग 10 की टिकट बाई करते हैं, and we'll set the perception.
It'll be only on day one or spread through?
3 days maximum.
It varies depending on the ego of the actor and producer. जितना deeper your pockets are, उतने ज़्यादा buyings होंगे. ये अभी हो गया.
So
it is so. I'll tell you one thing. A very dear friend of mine went to watch a film.
हाउसफुल था लेकिन अंदर कोई नहीं था.
उस बेचारे ने हाउसफुल था. He wanted to go with the family and all. तो उस बेचारे ने थिएटर ओनर को कॉल करके स्पेशली टिकट्स
फेवर्स
लेके टिकट खरीदी. वो थिएटर में फिल्म देखने गया, मुझे कॉल करते हैं एंड बोलते हैं कि मैंने इतने कॉल्स लगाए 30% ऑक्यूपेंसी है.
Correct.
So that is happening, which is a very sad thing where you are. So it depends on ego.
So to answer your question, it happens.
But is it a part of marketing spends?
No, thankfully not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been left with anything to do for sure. No, it is not a part of marketing spends. It is genuinely a separate budget if anybody does it. And I also feel it's not that everybody does it.
Yeah.
But जो भी करते हैं, it depends on when we are nearing the release of the film.
Yeah.
And you feel, oh, the advances are not up to the mark or the vibe is not what we want. Also on that, do you see, as he also asked a question, एक दिन, 2 दिन, 3 दिन, उसके बाद कहीं ना कहीं the audiences need to ride that wave, otherwise it's gonna die down. आप कितनी buying करोगे? You can't spend 100 crores and say we have achieved 100 crores. I mean, I'm hoping no film has done that.
Have gone
ridiculously costly.
What I know, the highest that a film has spent in self-buying tickets is around 40 to 45 crore.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Hindi.
Hindi.
Wow. Okay.
And there is one big South film also which has done these buyings in Hindi.
That I know.
Of 40 to 45
Correct.
crore
That
to
even
change.
I know.
And people have tried to change the verdict of the film by doing this, because see, we need to realize that a lot of these people have a lot of money. At times, पैसे की बात नहीं होती है, वो इज्जत की बात होती है.
Of course.
Then you just put in the money and you do it.
Because मुझे अभी भी लगता है, from
It
whatever
has happened
I know,
this year. It has happened last year. So yeah. Wow. So it's a very sad.
But has it changed the verdict of the film, or eventually it is what it is?
There are 2 films. जहाँ पे verdict
और
change
2 मिनट
हुआ
में
है.
नाम भी बोल देगा. हाँ बोल.
फिर वो मुझे edit करना पड़ेगा. क्योंकि मैंने नाम ले लिया तो जो लोग हैं वो मेरे ऑफिस में आ जाएंगे.
निकाल देंगे तुझे.
But there are 2 films जिसका verdict change हुआ है.
Oh, actually हुआ है
Actually change हुआ है because of the buying.
Okay.
But remaining films are
वही.
जो है वो है.
I would like to still believe there is some, karmic justice prevailing, where even if you do all of this, you are doing this to satisfy your ego might get satisfied, but eventually will your film be remembered as that?
No.
Is my question. So if that is not happening, I'm assuming like it used to be about buying reviews. I personally feel it's kind of gone down. Now that conversation is how do we handle them, because they know they can't be bought. Similarly, this is going to happen where they will realize that the focus is going to be on making a great film. Jiska I gave you guys an answer that everybody tries to make a good film. It eventually, an art is such that you might like this color, I might not.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean I am better or you are worse. It is just our choice.
Yeah.
So for me, I still feel that these are very short-term tactics which will keep on coming and going. And like cinema is evolving, storytelling is evolving, audiences are evolving, reviews are evolving, these techniques will also evolve.
It has become slightly, I think we were discussing this off camera also, about how journalism, trade based on the number of followers that you have are also essentially extortionists with these production companies who they're just getting paid for a favorable set of tweets or reviews or an analysis of their box office reporting. And so what it does to you, me, is that we're probably the few who are treading the thin line between judging our morality. Kare ya na kare. I think in the long run it doesn't.
I know.
You shouldn't. Shouldn't.
Yes, absolutely. And that is a long-term thing.
But you know what I find frustrating? Is the people who you know are semi-extortionists who pretend to be genuine. And I'll tell you later who it is.
Eventually, I still feel audiences and everybody see through. We have all possible.
It is true.
I'm sure there are still some examples where we would know, oh, they are doing this because of money, but eventually it's just a matter of time. So I still feel it's a very short-term business investment where you take money and you write, but you are doing it at the cost of your credibility.
I'm not saying writing I'm saying just leave journalism and start an agency which buys tickets.
Actually, there should be an agency to buy tickets and also make sure those seats are filled.
That's what.
Then
bro,
I'm telling you, then I'll be your 50% partner there, because I'll tell you why. Why am I trying to go out in the market and please 1,000 people by my marketing when I know only 3 people out of that? That's my ratio. I have to reach out to people through TV, outdoor, digital, on ground and radio, out of which 3% convert. यहाँ पे हम directly 3% को hit करते हैं.
But अब मैं आपको बताऊँ, there is actually an agency. So there are agencies which bring in people for the political rallies.
Correct.
So now, these agencies have been tapped into by our industry. So initially क्या हो रहा था, जब बाइंग्स हो रही थी एंड थिएटर्स खाली थे, तो लोग वीडियो लेके डाल दे रहे थे. सो टू गेट एन
पैसा खरीदने पे भी खर्चा कर रहे हैं और ऑडियंस को बिठाने में भी खर्चा कर रहे हैं.
So there is an agency whose work is they have packages, silver package, platinum package, gold package. कितने लोग चाहिए आप बताओ, हम लोग का इतना कमीशन, you will have to give one free ticket. So they won't charge you for getting people in over there. What they'll do is, suppose 10 crore का ticket का you have given them package, so they'll take the 10 crore worth ticket. They'll say आप हमको ये सब के लिए फूड कूपन दे दो जो लोग हम लोग के आ रहे हैं. So free movie ticket and food coupon is enough for them to get the people to watch the film, and they'll charge 10% as their commission. तो 1 करोड़ रुपया कमीशन मिला लोग भेजने के लिए, and people are getting free ticket, Pepsi, samosa, popcorn. So that's happening, and these agencies का जो काम है, like
the effort to do everything else other than the movie and the storytelling and the acting. That goes to shit when all your conversations and your things are about this. Then
how do you make a good film?
How do you make a good film then?
So that's the issue I think which we are facing right now. The media is facing credibility crisis. The industry is facing credibility crisis.
Yes.
And you know, unfortunate.
And it can only be redeemed by just one thing: the effort and intent
to make a
good film. Eventually, what you make out, nobody has a control over. But at least your intention and effort needs to be. We want to do this, because if what you are saying, if this starts happening, then as a director, why am I even bothered? I know my day one is going to be this. If I am guaranteed a day one, nobody will even need to कि मुझे poster क्यों लगाने हैं, मुझे ये क्यों करना है, कुछ भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है.
So that's what I was saying also with the industry now, with their feature films going to theaters, have become risk averse.
Yes.
Because the deals are already set. So the numbers are already in with a projected minimum to do in theaters. So you are going to bank on your IP and your nostalgia value. And the storytelling of, say, Bhool Bhulaiya 2, 3 having any continuity, it doesn't matter. We'll just revive Manjulika and do as many iterations of it as we can. But what I'm saying is, isn't there also a restructuring happening of the digital partners also realizing that the movies are not doing those numbers? So why should we sell you at a particular rate?
And that's happening. That's the reason when you are saying, you know, kind of, when was the last time you have seen such less projects being announced?
Because
so for me, again, I will bring this back somewhere to the producer. Of course, a lot of things are connected, but who were the producers in the 80s and the 90s? I like this idea. I like this actor. ये director सही है, चल picture बनाते हैं. Picture बनेगी, जो कमाई होगी वो होगी. फिर OTT satellite 6 महीने बाद जो आएगा. Trust me, those were the guys who used to make films because their effort was, अगर ये theater में नहीं चली तो I'm done. We need those kind of, I won't say risk takers, but with those kind of people to say I'm making a film for the audience. That's my point of sale. Everything else is a bonus. अभी क्या हो रहा है? मेरा cost cover हो रहा है क्या? अगर ये cost cover हो रहा है मैं तो ही बनाऊँ. Then you are a trader. You are not a producer.
The process starts not creatively, but what is the best financial goal for us?
It's a structure.
And you know, sir, I was watching Shah Rukh Khan during the promotions of My Name Is Khan speak about this. When the corporatization of Bollywood had started, and he had said that it's very important for the heads of these production companies to be creatives first, like Yash Chopra, because they'll ideally would want their slate to look a particular way, versus now when graphs have taken over and projections have taken over, even before you've discussed what the story should be. So
I think he saw it coming, because that is something I was very fascinated with. You know the story, but the reason anyhow I wanted to enter the industry is I was a fan of UTV. You know, a lot of people talk about Yash Raj, Dharma. They are great, and the reason today a Yash Raj or an Excel or a Vishesh film for that, these people are still standing because there is this one man with a creative vision that I want to do this. The only corporate I feel, I came to the industry with a dream. I can say it out loud. I want to head the marketing for UTV motion pictures. Why? Because when I was in my school and college, I wanted to be a part of an organization that is releasing Jodha Akbar and Our Wednesday in the same year. Which production house is doing that today? So if corporates are coming in, and that's probably the reason you hardly have corporates left. Because of the same reason that the people heading, they think they are creatively inclined. But the point is, the reason why other production houses are still able to sustain the entire barrage of money not being there and everything, whether it's an Excel, is because it's been led by creatively driven people with partnering with, like a Karan will always have an Apurva, a Farhan will always have a Ritesh. So Adi, I think, is a great mix of both. I think it's a great mix of both. I'm talking as if I sit with them every day, but the idea is it's just an analysis that why Dinesh Vijan. Now these are people, now nobody can debate the fact that he's not a creative guy with the kind of choices that he's making, but I also feel he's great with numbers to understand that the COP and the reach of this film should be this much. Then I will make sure it's marketed so well so that it reaches out to that TG and the film will do what it's do. So I think that is what we are lacking, is those ballsy producers to say that, boss, this is what I believe in. I'll put in my best team to make it. I'll put in my best team to market it. Then it is upon the audience. That's what I feel. I could be wrong, but that's my personal
and
thing.
You know, when you talk of Adi, I think what also separates him from the rest is that I don't know how true or false it is, but I have heard that he used to watch every film by paying for the ticket, buying a ticket at the theatres. Initially it was Chandan. I know because few of the people I know have spotted him randomly watching the last show at Chandan in the balcony. So I think when you are in sync with what the audience want, what other producers do is they watch it at a trial.
So Himesh, when a person or a production house like YRF says we won't keep media trials or anything, I don't think anybody feels bad and in vengeance write bad reviews. Because it's stemming from a custom, it's stemming from a thought that I am going to pay for every film and go and watch. You want to watch a film, talk whatever about it, but remember you are an opinion leader. Your opinions are affecting people who are thinking to go and watch my film. At least pay for my ticket.
But you know, that's the reason why I've always felt very icky about premiere shows. Because the act itself of me going to a theatre and not paying for it and then being handed over like a coupon for samosas or coke, it like didn't sit right with me as a person who pays for the ticket and watches and loves movies. So the act itself for purchasing the ticket and having your opinion, so that's why I slightly was for Karan Johar saying that he doesn't want to do premieres anymore because everything had become so diluted in terms of genuine opinions and agendas. So I am of the firm belief that you should pay for the ticket you're watching it, even if you're like watching, you're writing a review for a particular, you know. The only thing is that a lot of journalists speak about is the time gap that they have. The thing is that at least the premiere allowed for a 24-hour cycle for them to process the film properly, whereas the day off leads to a hasty review, which can sometimes be rushed. That's the only demerit.
But is there a pressure, Jammy, to put a review out soon?
So there's a window. There is a window on a Friday from 1 to 5, which is peak of people wanting to know what happened, because majority people don't go at 9 a.m. So to formulate your opinion by 12 to 2:30 and edit it and post it by 3:34 is quite a nerve-wracking experience. I must say, I've been doing it for 6-7 years now. But I have also found myself in the rush of presenting that opinion, probably overlooking a few things. And then in retrospect, being critical of myself, probably in those aspects. But I think that is the beast. Sadly, with social media, it is so time sensitive that a trailer drops and suddenly Himesh will get harassed. Kya hai bhai, opinion de yaar.
It's almost a pressure to react to it immediately.
Actually, you are tied up somewhere.
No, you don't have a personal life, dude. No, this is your life.
And suddenly, like 1 hour, suppose you are in an interview, you don't have your phone. कोई trailer drop हुआ. 1.5 घंटे बाद, you just open your Twitter, X, whatever you call it, and you are seeing अब तक ट्रेलर नहीं डाला, अरे अब तक ये नहीं किया, अरे पैसे नहीं मिले क्या, ये नहीं, अरे भाई मैं किधर तो था, मतलब.
You know what's crazy is that before the review has gone up, it's preemptive outrage that's hilarious to me. Acha, isliye nahi kiya. Already, it's, you know, when discourse becomes about your character, your assumed agenda versus the content of the film is where I disconnect. मैंने कहा तुझे movie के बारे में जो बात करनी है मैं करूँगा. But when you start saying, अच्छा तू ये privileged bandra boy ये वो, मैंने कहा मैं नोएडा से हूँ यार. privileged bandra boy कहाँ से आ गया? तो वही है कि लोगों का perception क्या है, वो क्या what they're throwing at your way is where you should decipher. अच्छा ये troll है, ये person genuine है जो मेरा perspective जानना चाहता है और मुझसे engage करना चाहता है. That's important to acknowledge.
But that's what I was asking. So if suppose you put a review on a Sunday or a Monday, your
views will go down.
Views definitely go down, sir.
Also completely down, right?
Interest definitely goes down post Friday. But if there are multiple releases, then they have a window of being like, oh, he's watching everything.
Okay.
But there is a huge gap between the Friday afternoon window versus anything else.
Yeah. But you know, that's my next question. I remember one particular film, Salar. Everyone, I would say everyone, including you, me, we all judged it in a certain way when it released. But I personally feel over a period of time, the film has aged very well. It is very nuanced. There are so many movements and it's a very well written, well crafted film.
But that last 20 minutes when I still watch it again with the tribes and how they... It is such an anomaly to now when every movie is trying to force a part 3 or a part 2 and you know that last sequence is an afterthought.
Correct. Over here, that's what I said. It's a well crafted, well thought of film, and I think everyone was too harsh on that film.
So I have a point to make, and because I know the two of you are genuine movie lovers, the three of us, and also between us we can talk and agree to disagree. Both of you mentioned one thing, that when you watched a particular film, for that matter Salar, as audiences later on, maybe you got it better. But when you watched it in theatre with a pressure to review, especially in a clash, also thinking what the others will thinking, maybe for you it might be a 50% drift, for him it might be a 10% drift. But there was a drift also, as he rightly mentioned, that it's actually nerve-wracking to see the film, absorb, think about it and give a review, so that you are in that time frame. You do it to a content that has gone in for 2 years of making. Fair, unfair is a conversation, but it just came to me right now that somebody has made a film. Again, we can discuss some films. For me, it's always the intention, always, that he has put in his hard work for 2 years, because we want to ensure the review comes out at a certain time, and also what people would be thinking. Imagine the pressures the producer, director and the actor would be having of the expectations and what people would be thinking. And in few hours, we kind of not really give a verdict, but say, not done. So now I think that is one of the long answers to what we were talking is, why would a producer feel that? I think that could be one of the reasons. I am not one and I'm really not.
I do have empathy for that, sir. But what I'm saying is, there can also be a middle ground in your perception of the film. I remember having such a strong perspective about Dunki, saying that it's probably one of the poorest Hirani films that I've seen. And I'm a fan of that filmography. And that perspective's not changed. But in Salar, I just found myself to be confused and in the middle, rather than giving a perspective as if it's a disaster.
Correct.
Or somewhere in the middle.
I am the most excited to watch what Prashant Neel does next. I would love to see how Prashant Neel presents an NTR. Because I think over there it's going to be a collaboration of two powerhouses. I am excited to see how Prashant Neel takes the world of Salar forward. I really hope he does, because
he is. Hopefully he is. Yes.
So I think that perspective, like when we discuss cinema as well, I think there are times when films age better than what.
True.
See, I'll tell you, but that's what breaks my heart about when you speak about dream collaborations, right? You're speaking about the fact of thinking about Junior NTR and Prashant Neel, you're excited, right? Similarly, I remember when War 2 was announced, I was still very excited when Ayan Mukherjee was announced as a director, because I see the potential of Brahmastra and how like it was pulled left, right and center critically, but I could see what that film could have been. And this is the same feeling that I remember my heart breaking when Shah Rukh Khan and Imtiaz Ali was announced, when Shah Rukh Khan and Rajkumar Hirani was announced, because these are collaborations you dreamt of. So hopefully it's led me to not get too excited about these collaborations.
That one collaboration, I'm very excited because what has happened is I've individually had the privilege to know both of them, the director and the actor. But for me to see how they come together and what they do is Spirit, is Prabhas Anna and Sandeep Reddy Vanga. What they will cook together, and I know both of them individually. I would want to be around a fly on the wall on the set to see what they're doing because it could go through the roof and how you have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know how Prabhas Anna is. He's a child. If he gets into that vibe of Sandeep sir, he will come out as a monster.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that
Collaboration
should do what people would expect of that collaboration.
Yeah, that's of course true. And you know, when we talk of collaborations or films that we are looking forward to, there are so many films in the making.
Yeah.
You mentioned War and you mentioned Spirit.
Yeah.
But if you look holistically, which are the other films that have excited you the?
I'm really looking forward to Kantara Chapter 1. I think the prequel to the film, I think Rishabh Shetty is very well versed with the folklore of that land. And it shows on the level of detailing that he's trying to integrate into the story. I am very excited for War 2, as I said. The huge Hrithik Roshan fan in me just wants him to blast on screen, and for that feud, presumable feud, to possibly have a dance-off as well.
I was just about to add.
They have a dance-off with their shooting in January.
Himesh has confirmed. I cannot wait for it. So that as well. And I am really looking forward to King. I don't know what that will be. That is the one that I'm actually the most confused about, because that is the collaboration with Sujoy Ghosh and Shah Rukh Khan, which I didn't envision for those paths to cross.
How do you imagine this?
So I'm very intrigued about it. And for a person who has loved Bajrangi Bhaijaan and Sultan, and to see Salman have almost enthusiasm in his eyes on screen, I want that to be Sikandar, and I hope it is. So
please. And Varun, for you?
He's taken the two from me already. War 2, I think, is something I strongly feel, believe and hope is something that shatters not just records and numbers, but just as an experience. I mean, let's forget the numbers and everything. I want to sit as a kid in the theater and just I'm ready. I'm just wanting to be mesmerized in that world. So War 2 is something I really want, and I'm very, very excited for. Kantara was the other, but I'll so I've had the chance of seeing some stuff from that film, which is the title is not yet announced, but Aditya Dhar and the Ranveer Singh film. I've seen something of that, and Ranveer, I really feel, contrary to whatever opinions, is a sleeping, wounded tiger on the side.
That's a great description.
Yeah, and he is that, and if he's unleashed the way Aditya is envisioning it, people will be shocked. And they have a mammoth task because a lot has already happened. Up action mein kuch naya karo, you can't just do ki chal kuch naya. It really has to be internal at the same time. And Ranveer, I still feel, just need great directors, and that guy can, fly. So that one film, I was just about to tell the title, but you would obviously know. But
I know certain aspects about that film, sir, and they are really having an attention to detail with its score, its presentation. It's going to be really high concept and slick, with its presentation.
So that one film, whenever we put out the first look, so that one film, again, we are trying and put the right assets out to build the right promise. We don't want to look like any other film. So that one film, honestly, but because I'm on it, War for me, yes. But that one film, whenever we come out next year, I think should surprise a lot of people in a good way. Because Ranveer really needs it, and I think he's giving it his all. So is Aditya.
I'm very excited for Thamma also, which is the Matic Universe extension. And there's a movie called Thug Life with Kamal Hassan sir and Mani Ratnam sir. That's something that blew me away from their announcement video only. So I'm very excited for that.
Okay, so there's one film which I am looking forward to the most. I mean, it's something which would surprise a lot of people, but it is Jolly LLB 3.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I think Akshay Kumar has one of the best comic timing for an actor in last 30 years.
Khel
me,
Khel
it's-
mein you saw it.
Yeah.
You saw it
Yeah.
recently.
And it's a versus with Arshad
Arshad
Varsi,
Varsi.
who again has a great comic
And
timing.
Saurabh
Saurabh
Shukla.
With Saurabh Shukla. It is directed by Subhash Kapoor,
Right.
who has, I think he is a great director
Yes.
because I loved what he made on OTT as well,
Yes,
Maharaja.
yes.
It's a very well made show.
Yes, yes.
So this entire
True.
setup of Akshay Kumar, Arshad Varsi, Saurabh Shukla, directed by Subhash Kapoor, in a franchisee which I genuinely love, be
Yeah.
it Jolly 1 or
One or
Jolly
two.
2. I think that film is a dark horse for 25. And I'm rooting for Akshay Kumar to, be back. I mean, I've grown up seeing his films. I love the comedies that he has done. I really like Khel Khel Mein. I was
I love that
really
film, yeah.
sad that the film didn't do well. I was expecting that at least 70-80 to kar leti, but I think the timing went wrong over
Yeah.
there.
3-2 wave was
Yeah,
too intense.
yeah.
I think my love for Akshay Kumar is at least
Yeah.
known to the people who know me. And I just feel it's a matter of the right timing. I'm
Yeah.
not even saying the right film.
Yeah.
It's just the matter of right
Yeah, and
timing for
I'm-
him. And
Hopefully this Jolly LLB should be that film which should, hopefully, as they have made a good film in the
Yes.
franchise.
But you're right. There's a lot of credibility and I would say comfort
Yeah.
attached to the project with people behind it.
Yeah.
So that we know is,
Yeah.
it's not
There.
just gonna go in some
Yeah.
other direction.
I must add just one, this might be slightly obscure, but from Malayalam cinema, Mahesh Narayanan is directing a movie with Mohanlal and Mammootty in the same film.
Yeah.
So that's going to be
Wow.
like something that everyone's
Wow.
been
Yeah.
looking forward to.
Wow.
And with whatever happened with Kanguva
Ji.
and the, I think, justifiable criticism that it got, Surya is collaborating with Kartik Subbaraj,
Subbaraj, yes.
which I
Yes,
think is
yes.
a great
Great
collab
collaboration.
Yes.
because Vikram worked with Kartik Subbaraj, and I think in the last 5-6 years that was his best film.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to really channelize something special.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are a lot of films being
Yeah.
made in the regional cinema as well,
Correct.
which is there. But there was Jolly, which is my most awaited. Then there is War, of course, which
Yes,
is a
yes, I
no-brainer
think
because Hrithik
common.
versus NTR is something which I would buy tickets for even without seeing a trailer,
Exactly.
True.
even without seeing a song. Just the fact, if the film doesn't even have a name, it's just Hrithik versus NTR, I'll go and buy a ticket.
For me, I just want them to play with silhouettes and shadows. Don't show me how Hrithik and NTR are looking in the film.
Yeah.
Just play with silhouettes and shadows on the posters,
Yeah.
teasers, just their legs, just their
No,
hands.
so-
Trust me, people are gonna jump and come.
Yeah. So, this is something which I had a thought in my mind that YRF could do for Tiger versus Pathan, that you don't show a trailer, you don't show us the song, you just create an asset which is a clipping, which is a specially curated teaser,
Correct.
nothing to do with the film, just screen it and I'll buy the tickets for that and watch it just to see Shah Rukh and Salman together in a
The
film.
face off.
Same way, even for War, I am ready to pay blindly. There is a discourse about pricing, that is one film जहाँ पे मैं 2000 की ticket लेके भी I'll go watch it in IMAX and just cheer like a boy in candy shop. So there is War
Yeah.
2. Then there is I think Salman and Atlee are collaborating. Jawan is the best theatrical experience I had in
yes.
last 4 years
Yeah.
for a Hindi film. So that's another collaboration which I am looking forward to. And of course there is Ramayana.
Yes.
I'm hoping they get Ramayana right this time. And with the names involved, again, it's a very credible setup with Ranbir,
Yeah.
Nitesh Tiwari,
Sure.
Sai Pallavi,
Yeah.
Sunny Deol, and Yash.
Hmm.
So that's another film which I'm excited for. So yeah, these are the ones in the top of my mind.
Two movies come to my mind also. I'm very interested about what they've done with Chava,
Yeah.
Yes.
with Vicky. And I'm very interested about Yash's movie, Toxic. Which, because these are worlds again that I didn't envision to collaborate together, Geetu Mohandas and Yash. So what they've cooked up, and I actually literally have no idea about the plot.
Yeah.
Which
So,
is great. I think it's a great starting point to just don't know. It's a white paper for you.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. Like War, we can still try and think
Yeah.
a bit of a setup.
Yeah.
But Toxic, Spirit, while he's playing a police officer, that's
Yeah.
all. But you would still know. So for you, I think there are very few films which have a
So
white
that is
clean
another
slate.
disadvantage which I have. Like I'll give you an example. Pathan. I loved Pathan. But someone had told me the entire sequence of Shah Rukh and Salman long back. मेरे को पूरा फ्रेम बाय फ्रेम किसी ने नरेट किया था. अरे द पर्सन वाज एक्साइटेड व्हेन ही गॉट टू नो. अरे पता है इधर ये शूट हुआ है, इधर वो हेलीकॉप्टर से आता है, नीचे ऐसा आता है, स्कार्फ दिखेगा, फिर नीचे आएगा, फिर दोनों एक्शन करेंगे.
अच्छा उतना डिटेल.
The wonder goes away.
So the entire
Himesh is that person in our life.
yeah. So मेरे को even before stepping in to watch the film, I knew के इंटरवल के बाद इधर पहले स्कार्फ आएगा, उसके बाद में उधर ऐसे सलमान आएगा and that will happen.
Right.
Same way, there are so many cameos.
You have to be Joey from Friends when someone's saying that you go la la la. Literally.
Yeah, मतलब that's an occupational hazard, I think so, because you have to write about the films. And personally, you know, I there are times when a lot of people on Twitter tell me that why are you writing about the cameos? Now I'll tell you a thing.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up. Yes.
Yeah, so I never write about the spoilers. Though I know the end, and I just write that this person has a cameo. But 98 or I would say 99 out of 100 times, when it comes to cameos, the producer will call me and say, please write about it. Now if
99%
99 I can go to the extent of saying 100 on 100 times. Every cameo that I have written about, the producer has called me and said that ये cameo है, लिख दे. You go and search the timing, it would be 1 week before the release or 10 days before the release.
थोड़ा और build up
के लिए they would call and say कि इसके बारे में लिखो. Now if I don't write it, I know मैं मना करूंगा, ये जाके कोई और वेबसाइट लिख देगा, कोई और बंदा लिख देगा. So at least
you get the
I get the
exclusivity of it.
exclusivity and write about it. But
that तेरे घर आया है moment has gone.
Yeah, that has
Of
unfortunately
Salman turning
gone.
and everyone being like, what?
Yeah, I don't
Again,
know.
at the risk of being an Akshay fan, for me that happened in Hey Baby, where
Shah Rukh.
Shah Rukh turned. Oh, and on the beats of Mast Kalandar, and when Akshay and Shah Rukh they're doing the same step, I was like, boss.
Yeah.
That's.
Those days are gone.
Which was the last film where the cameo surprised you?
Thanks to you, I don't remember any, but still.
मैं भी सोच
If
रहा
I
हूँ.
have to think.
I think
Very
it was
tough,
अजब प्रेम की गजब कहानी. I remember where Salman comes out of nowhere.
It's been that long, huh?
और फटा पोस्टर निकला हीरो again where
Salman.
Salman comes, where I didn't know. These two.
I remember there used to be in the mid 2000s Abhishek Bachchan cameos. Salam Namaste.
Oh,
He
yeah,
came
yeah,
in the
yeah,
end as
yeah,
a doctor.
yeah.
Hum Tum. He
Yeah.
was the Dulha
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
end.
Yeah, but those are still the smaller
the
cameos with all
comical
respect
and
to this thing.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
bigger cameos where, you know,
So I remember when I was, we were small, that time there was no social media, nothing. रहना है तेरे दिल में. Nobody knew about Saif Ali Khan. Nobody. And I remember there was this one article I used to always flip second-hand film magazines at that point in time. There was a still of Saif sir in the swimming pool looking very cool as always and said that he's going to have a part in Renet. And then it's what is the cameo? It was like a parallel lead. So I think that for me was a big surprise. I remember that. Otherwise,
no, मैं recent सोच रहा हूँ in last 7 years which was the cameo which.
I just didn't know that Vijay Deverakonda is in Kalki.
Kalki,
That was
okay.
one
Kalki
thing.
had a lot of surprises, but I think that's because we didn't read a lot about it. So
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think in.
I think, you know, till the last moment, because the leaks happened, nobody knew. I mean, I'm sure the Tamil audience knew Surya's Rolex.
That's yeah.
oh,
I was surprised as hell because they were compelled to release his poster before the release.
Yeah.
Because it had been leaked.
And
He
what
was on
a
set.
cameo, what a cameo.
Yeah.
What a cameo.
That was. I think that's the one which even comes to my mind where I didn't know about Surya as Rolex, or probably I think in Leo Kamal sir had a voiceover, which is again another thing which surprised. I think it was a very big deal for the universe to build up. But yeah, I think more or less even the audience nowadays know ke
who's going to be
in fact they are
featuring
waiting.
there,
In fact, it becomes a PR peg to just keep on adding fuel to say iska bhi cameo as speculations.
Bol do.
Eventually it doesn't turn up, but I think that's wrong because you are leaving the audiences disappointed.
मेरे को लगता है, this is such a Hindi word, I used it after so long. मेरे को लगता है that Singham again would have been a completely different film if they had not shown every character or every actor in the trailer. See, everyone knows it's a universe. Everyone knows that these actors are there. But at least film ke time pe there would have been a surprise element. You don't know what scenes they are coming to. So there might have been a surprise element where I don't know where Deepika is coming, I don't know where Tiger is coming, I don't know where Akshay sir is coming.
I've argued about this so many times because
Yeah, even I have a POV on
Rohit Shetty's trailer cuts
Yeah.
are because he's been constantly asked, why are you showing the style in which the guy is making the cameo?
Precisely.
He's like, I'm going to sell you exactly what you're going to see in the theater, which I think does a disservice to the surprise element of the story.
Yeah, that was a good thing. That's a good thing that YRF does with their universe is that they don't show. See, the easiest thing for YRF to do in Pathan's trailer was
show
to
the
have
scarf or something.
a scarf.
Correct.
In Tiger's trailer was to show just the Jhume Jo Pathan.
Yeah.
But they are keeping the cameos exclusive and they are giving that respect to the leading man as well, that this is your film.
Correct.
Pathan is a Shah Rukh Khan, Deepika Padukone, John Abraham film. Tiger is a Salman, Katrina, Imran Hashmi film.
Absolutely.
Everything else is an add-on.
Yeah.
There is not a single. So the surprise for the audience which might have been there, thankfully they are not in, is that they don't know. Okay, they know पठान में सलमान आने वाला है, टाइगर में शाहरुख आने वाला है. कब आने वाला है, कैसे आने वाला है, क्यों आने वाला है, no one knows. So that's the thing which YRF does it very well and मुझे ऐसा लगता है that in Singham if you didn't know कि इधर अक्षय कुमार आ रहा है, इधर ये आ रहा है, then वो टेंशन ही नहीं बिल्ड हो रहा है ना. नाउ इन द क्लाइमैक्स इधर अजय देवगन एंड करीना कपूर आर इन अ सिचुएशन वेयर यू डोंट नो इफ दे आर गोइंग टू रेस्क्यू. अभी मुझे ट्रेलर में ही पता ही है इधर सामने से गोली मारने वाले, ऊपर से अक्षय कुमार आने वाला है. तो आई एम प्रिपेयर्ड. अरे इनको तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, अभी अक्षय कुमार आ रहा है.
See, the fact that you're near the climax and you don't fear either of your lead characters dying. Then you're like, that belief of you getting invested in the story is gone away. Because you've already sold to us that someone will come and save them.
You know, that still happens to me. I still see Lagan, probably the 50th time, and I feel, ये लोग हार गए थे क्या? मैंने जब देखा था तब तो जीते थे. The build-up is so bloody good. The screenplay is so good that even today you see the film, you'll feel, यार ये लोग तो जीते थे ना last time I saw the film. It's so well done.
Sir, the angle of Lakha getting that catch. That surprise element of that redemption arc is what makes that moment.
Too good.
And I would say Jawan did it very well with his trailer. To create an intrigue.
In fact, the prelude, the idea of having a prelude was very, very good. Very good.
Because you were constantly wondering triple role,
double role, which is great. अच्छा बंदा है, बुरा बंदा है, ये hero है, villain है. वो intrigue factor with Jawan was done very well. They didn't open up the film.
For Singham, just coming back and to close that up was, for me, was the background. I've been shouting and saying this because, you know, in a lot of my meetings, I have been giving examples and references of Singham's BGM. I remember seeing the film, the first Singham, in 2011 it had come. I saw it in a theatre, in a multiplex, and it had turned into a single screen. There's a walk where Man Bhavar Uthe, that starts. Ajay sir in slow motion is just wearing his cap and sitting on the bike. People are going mad. Now as a scene, the actor is just sat on the bike. People have reacted so much because that background has gotten into their, it's their trigger to react. मैं इधर देख रहा हूँ अजय देवगन as Singham walking, I don't have that background. There is no reaction coming. People are sitting कि हाँ अजय देवगन is walking. But the moment, and I think somebody did it on the social media where they added the
original Singham BGM.
And I was clapping on that camera print on the phone that ये चाहिए था मेरे को. So I was like war. I was seated in Singham that I want to shout, clap, everything. When the trailer came out, we talked that I would love to enjoy, but because of that BGM, somewhere I felt, I mean, it really lost in the psychology of wanting to enjoy it. That's what I felt.
When franchisee culture is taking over, there is always a risk of goofing up the character. Especially when, I would give an example. Dabangg. The first part of Dabangg changed the course of cinema in terms of the palette. Chulbul Pandey became an icon in terms of... Now when you are milking Chulbul Pandey, slowly and steadily you try to misinterpret the character.
True. Or add layers unnecessarily.
Today Chulbul Pandey is Chulbul Pandey. This is my understanding because of the grey elements. Chulbul Pandey is not Chulbul Pandey because of hum tum mein itne chhed karenge or that Munni Badnaam dance. So now when you start misinterpreting the character, your franchisee goes for a toss. How do you view or how do you deal with the scenario where suppose the third installment is bad? do you start doubting the first installment as well, or does the legacy of first part stay intact, and do you still see that there is a potential? Let's take Dabangg only for that matter.
Race is a great example.
I would
where
say-
now they want to make 4,
Yeah.
but kind of scarred with 3.
Yeah,
But you have an opinion of the 1
yeah,
and 2.
but I would still say Race is not
As cult as Dabangg,
as
you are
cult
saying.
as a
ठीक है.
Dabangg,
Also
where-
a character.
Yeah,
Dabangg is character driven. Race
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a way isn't.
See, I have a perspective regarding Singham. I think Singham would have largely benefited from not being an Avengers template. The fact that I still remember the hooting and cheering in Suryavanshi when Singham alludes to his the
Yeah.
film that will come
Yeah,
next,
yeah, yeah.
while interacting
on
with
phone.
Jackie
Yeah,
Shroff,
yeah.
right? So, I believe the reason why people loved Singham 1 and 2 was the characterization of
was the
Ajay
aggression
Devgan.
of the Ajay
Ajay
of
Devgan.
Yeah.
And the lack of dependence of others to fill the void. There was no
Package
void.
him, yeah.
Yeah.
The packaging was Ajay Devgan fills up the screen as Singham.
Yeah.
So I feel like in the process of people assuming that if we add as many IPs in the frame, more fans will come, more people will come, it dilutes the story.
Yeah.
So if it was literally Singham versus Arjun Kapoor, I think it would have largely been a good protagonist-antagonist story. But I think they added too many, what is the term, sir? The broth.
Yeah. No, they've added too many layers. They've added, as you rightly said, and it brings back to our conversation about the intent.
Yeah.
With what intent you want to tell a story. Like people remember Prakash Raj from Singham 1 even today, cheating karta hai tu and all of it. People still use them in their daily conversation. So that's how characters were built.
But do you think a cult character can be revived again? I would emphasize on again Chulbul Pandey, because if you look at Dabangg 1 and the kind of cinema which is being made today, the palette was set over there. Raw, rustic, high points.
I can answer that in a line. I think yes, but a lot of effort from the actor and from they need to themselves first take
They
that
need to
character
undo the third
so-
part and go back to the first one.
इसलिए थोड़ा overwork है. It can't be what the Singham end scroll was. So that's my thing. Can be, but it's a big task. Like I am seated. If you give me the badass Chulbul, Robin Hood Pandey, give me back.
Yeah.
If you're giving me that, then maybe.
You know,
Basically, we are all up for a film titled Chulbul Pandey and not Dabangg 4. In simple way.
you know, either way, and I think what Varun sir is saying, that what is the focus of the revival?
Yeah.
Is it to bank off of the IP
Correct.
or actually stay true to the character?
See, again, race for intent, if it is just to have people in overcoats walking with the background, it'll happen. What Animal did, again, it's not a franchise, but I'm just building into somebody who wants to build into the character.
Yeah.
Whether it was Kabir Singh on Animal, Sandeep sir focused that he might be on the right side of morals or the wrong side of law, but as a character, if you are invested, then whatever he does, you are with it because you know that's the character. So I still feel franchise, Munna Bhai,
Oh, it's a...
every time the situations have changed. You have the same antagonist, same actor playing the antagonist in a different form.
Yeah.
You have not questioned because you are invested in the characters and those characters have not changed.
Yeah.
As you very rightly said, Dabangg, Chulbul Pandey, he's never smiled in one. But in third, he's crying and he's running like a helpless child.
No, in third, he has become Prem.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think, I genuinely feel, again, my personal opinion, franchises are characters unless you do a Golmaal kind of a thing, which can be series.
Yeah.
But if you do a Drishyam without Vijay Salgaonkar, there cannot be a Drishyam without Vijay Salgaonkar. So I think it is very important for the characters to be invested, and that character can evolve, but not change in its DNA.
Yeah.
That's where it works.
Like there's an exhaustion with the Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yeah.
also, where there are too many cameos that are only intended for the cheering in theaters
Yep.
and not for the storytelling. It's happened here also now. People are exhausted with cameos which don't lend to the screenplay. So I think it's important that you stay true to what your world is.
Yeah, like classic example, Bhool Bhulaiya, the original Bhool Bhulaiya was a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
It was never a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Now the franchise genres only kind of changed a bit.
Yeah,
It's properly a horror,
Horror
comedy. It is what it is in the same bracket as 3. 3 started off as a horror comedy, it is staying true. But I think Bhool Bhulaiya was more of a psychological thriller than actually a horror comedy.
Yeah.
So I think then somewhere, see, but people remember Manjulika, people remember Ghost, so they've kind of smartly turned it into a horror comedy.
Yeah.
But I still feel characters, Dabang is character driven. Films like Golmaal and Race could be the only films where you can still use those terms but at least stay true to the genre. Otherwise it is just like Race 3. I mean, the three of us can go on talking about everything, but there's almost a 10-15 minute conversation in Bhojpuri between Anil Kapoor and Salman Khan happening. Now for me, Race 1 was all about the style, the swag, the packaging, Saif sir looking the way he's looking. And the twists and turns. I'm seated for it. I'm seated for people going dead and coming back alive because I know that's the Race and Abbas Mastan world. By the way, on that, do you think anybody has been able to replace Abbas Bhai, Mastan Bhai on those big scale commercial thrillers? Because see, you can make a suspense film on who done it. But
like
when you
Drishyam.
see, like Drishyam. But when you see, you are seated to watch big mansion. The hero is called Rajveer Singh. He's you know, there are choppers and everything. And you know, nobody is to be trusted. But still, it's a big screen experience. Otherwise, whatever I said has become very OTT driven currently. It's a very, but I am not able to think of somebody who's been able to transition it so well, even though you've seen those films in some languages somewhere. But they've packaged it in a manner that you kind of want to see it. I mean, do you think that?
No, it's so pulpy. It's so self-aware of
Yes,
a twist within a twist and the character knowing what I already preempted.
Like you start enjoying it. मुझे पता था ये नहीं होगा. Then he turns. It's just like I remember watching Hamraz and Akshay Khanna and Bobby Deol. The way the twists and turns were happening. There's a sequence and I watched it in Gujarat where Akshay Khanna sings "क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी." People in the theater have erupted, and the dialogue was he sings and says, "अगर ये मैंने TV पे डाल दिया ना तो उससे भी ज़्यादा चलेगा." It was just that. So I think that is the kind of connect and character building films
that's needed.
Hindi films. I think that's needed.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, now when we are talking so much about the North versus South debate and everything, you know, we have seen, you know, people are saying Hindi film industry needs to up their socks and everything, but I think that's more of an impulsive reaction given by people because, you know, it's not like we are dead. We have
so
had
pissed off with this discourse starting again.
I'll tell you, last year we had a Shah Rukh Khan making Jawan and Pathan.
Sunny Deol
making
Ranbir
a Gadar.
Kapoor.
Ranbir Kapoor making an Animal. This year we have had a 120 crore
films doing well.
120 crore budgeted three doing 575 crore.
You have a
I think
Munjia.
we have had a Munja. See, of course, this has not been a great year, but it's not like it's. I think what is happening is that because of this discourse, our own producers and actors are also getting into a phase of self-doubt, and we are trying to make what the other industries are making. But
Himesh,
we are there.
It's so reactionary.
Correct.
It's so impulsive and it is not detailed. The analysis of this South versus North Bollywood खत्म हो गया. It's not grounded in reality.
मैं तो इस पे एक factual बात बोलता हूँ. I feel where we are going wrong is that our media is glorifying the success of South and glorifying the failures of North.
Yes.
But if we look at the Telugu film industry before Pushpa,
look at their year.
Even after Pushpa, even the current year.
This I mean before Pushpa 2.
No, Pushpa 2, correct.
This year has been terrible for Telugu cinema.
For Telugu cinema. Tamil industry, they have had the biggest disasters this year with the biggest of the stars.
Correct.
Malayalam is the only industry
Relatively
which is
good
doing
year
well.
this year.
Yeah, but I think as national media, as influencers, as everything, whatever you call, we
Opinion
have been
leaders.
glorifying the successes of South and failures of North. But that's not the case.
But Himesh, that's what I said now when we were speaking about this, that extremes lead to virality. So if I can create a binary debate that this is good and this is bad, then more people lap it up.
Yeah, suddenly I've been reading so many posts, Bollywood needs to smell the coffee, make this kind of, I don't think Bollywood
Very
is there.
clear and
And
a
then
strong
2025 will happen,
Yeah.
and War 2 becomes a banger, and they'll be like, go back.
Correct,
We were
correct.
not gone. We had not gone.
We are not
anywhere.
going anywhere. We are making, see, I'm all up for Indian cinema, I'm all up
Yes,
for
correct,
all
of course,
languages
of
of cinema, but I don't know why there is an effort and attempt made to degrade our cinema.
I have very strong 2 points on this. One is, as he rightly said, if I am supporting something, I am expecting the other party to approach me and say, hey, either support me or do that. So it becomes a kind of a transactional business, number one. Number two, if you talk about Bollywood, let's just take the last 2 years. In terms of box office, if I'm not wrong, you know this better, 2024 has been the highest box office turnaround for
No, 2024 has been the lowest. 2024 has been very bad.
Sorry, this is 24, 23.
Yeah, 23 has been the best. Yeah.
It has been the best. In 24, now this is an unpopular opinion, I am saying in 23, there were 4 big tentpole big blockbusters.
Yeah.
They were made in a certain budget, they did a certain number. In this year, 2024, there have been Article 370, there's been Lapata Ladies, there's been Munjia, there's been Stree, there have been films which were made in a lesser budget. So if you talk on the number of films that have done well, is more than the last year. What I'm trying to say is maybe more people are getting motivated to tell the right stories and not shy away, because last year became about numbers, which is great, but also became about people are only going to come to theatres to watch experiential big films. But look at this year. So this in itself proves that there is no way you can term and say this is right, this is wrong. If last year it was about the tentpole blockbuster, this year it's been about content-driven films, which is great. But वो उतने numbers नहीं लाएगा. Your balance sheet might still say the previous year was better. But for me, I see it from a point of view, it's giving hope to a lot of honest filmmakers not to shy away and think अगर मेरी film में इतना बड़ा action set piece नहीं है, शायद लोग theatre में नहीं आएंगे.
No, so I think that's the issue which is happening with all the. It's sad that our industry is reacting to the social media narrative.
Correct.
But I feel we have an expertise in making a certain kind of film.
Absolutely.
Today, a Hindi filmmaker won't be able to make a Pushpa 2 for that matter. We don't have that. Our palette of cinema is very different. A Sukumar masters in making that kind of film, suppose.
And we shouldn't ape it also.
We shouldn't. The issue is we have started to ape it. Today, a Sandeep Reddy Vanga is succeeding because he is sticking to his voice.
Correct.
Today, let's say Amar Kaushik is succeeding because he made Stree the way he wanted to make it. He didn't make Stree thinking that ये ऐसा करना है, ये वैसा करना है, ये चल रहा है वो. We need to make honest films and we'll succeed. I'm pretty sure today an Ayan Mukherjee will make war in the genre war falls in. He won't make a Hrithik Roshan wear or go rustic just because raw and rustic films are working.
Yeah.
You know, like Karan Johar makes a family romantic film again, it'll be true to him.
Yeah.
Versus wanting to do an action film with a massy hero, it's not him.
Yeah, like suppose if a Karan Johar tries to make a Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum today, he has to make Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum the way it is. He shouldn't make a Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum जहाँ पे शाहरुख खान और ऋतिक रोशन suddenly एक इंटरवल ब्लॉक पे यार शाहरुख खान और ऋतिक रोशन एक एक्शन सीन डाल देते हैं. No, the purity of that film is the drama, the conflict in the drama. But the people have started designing.
For me also, makers, it has to be what they genuinely believe in and want to say, and not what's working.
Yeah.
Because I think what's working is what you believe in.
Yeah, and we are good.
It's actually a vicious circle.
Yeah, we are good.
You're so right about Amar Kaushik. So like for me again, Raju sir, for me more than Donkey being an SRK film not working, I was disheartened. I went in as a Raju Hirani fan more.
But I feel what went wrong in Donkey is Raju sir trying to make a Shah Rukh Khan film. If Raju sir made Atlee made
like Sukumar making an Allu Arjun film.
Yeah, but Sukumar has succeeded in that because.
But this is like Anand L. Rai making a Shah Rukh Khan movie with zero.
You have to make your film. Atlee made his film.
Yes.
And Shah Rukh Khan was there in an Atlee's world celebrated like never before. If Atlee tried to Rohit Shetty tried to make a Shah Rukh Khan film in Dilwale.
Yeah. Correct.
But Atlee made an Atlee film with Shah Rukh Khan, and you look at the results. So when a director makes a film,
I think same with Siddhanand and Pathan. He never tried to make a Shah Rukh Khan film. Like it couldn't have been anything but Pathan.
They made Pathan or a Jawan celebrating Shah Rukh Khan for what Shah Rukh Khan is.
Correct.
They knew that there is a dearth of Shah Rukh Khan film. There is a gap. And the audience want to see a certain kind of Shah Rukh Khan film which is in sync with their vision. They made it and the results are for everyone to see.
Absolutely.
When a director tries to cater to the aura or image of the actor, I think that's where they go wrong.
And only that, that's what happened with Zero. I remember the first portion of it being in that small village, being the single screen guy dancing. It's actually pulpy and like Anand L. Rai comedy, Heartland comedy.
Yeah.
But when it gets bigger, and then NASA,
space,
and then New York, and then space, it just goes all over the place.
And I think that happened, that Shah Rukh Khan faced it. That's something which Salman is facing now, where directors are trying to make a Salman Khan film. But you know, I strongly feel there is
Bajrangi
a great...
Bhaijaan is not really a Salman Khan film.
There is a
if you see
great actor
Tikman.
in Salman which is
Correct.
waiting to explode.
Chak De wasn't a typical Shah
Shah
Rukh Khan film.
But that's what the directors and the producer need to realize, that Salman Khan is not about shirtless scenes
Correct.
and those dialogues. Be it Bajrangi Bhaijaan, be it a Sultan, or I would say even Tiger Zinda Hai is a very different Salman film.
it's not your...
There is no songs. There are no songs. There is one song in Tiger Zinda Hai which comes in the 15th minute.
Correct.
But today's time, everyone is trying to construct a Salman Khan film, and they have a wrong understanding of what Salman is.
It's
Salman,
project versus telling a story.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
And if we look at Salman, his biggest opener is in a drama.
Yes.
His biggest blockbuster is in a drama.
Correct.
His most loved film is in a drama. Salman is not just about action. Salman is about catering to the
emotion, yeah,
families,
100%.
and Salman is about emotions. I remember Rajamouli said that when Salman cries, there's no beautiful sight than that, when he was explaining Dabang.
Yeah.
Why are the directors... I'm hoping Atlee taps upon that Salman Khan the superstar and Salman Khan the actor.
True.
Atlee tapped into that for Shah Rukh.
Shah Rukh, yes.
So why are people not able to do justice to our superstars? That's the biggest anger that I have.
But Himesh, also I'm curious, because you are more involved in the insider workings of work ethic.
Yeah.
Are the stars also willing to adapt?
I think the stars are willing to adapt. Otherwise, there is no way, say...
Like I'll tell you, like a movie like Kisi Ka Bhai Kisi Ki Jaan, when I see it, I see a sense of mediocrity, where people are not calling out the lack of quality of the script, which I feel like with experience should be like, hey guys, this is not really working out.
Yeah.
Is it that you need an athlete to get
See,
that
I
out?
think it's about working with the right directors. I think when a star gets that security, that I am in
just coming
safe
to
hands,
When he's willing to surrender.
that
then I'll
assurance.
surrender. But when I know that my director doesn't know his job well, I will try to bring in my perspective.
If I make it more brutal, the director needs to prove himself
Yeah.
for the star to give in, which I think in some point in time is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where like today, I think I'm coming back to that, Ranveer is giving into Aditya Dhar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Aditya is somewhere proved in that genre.
Yeah.
So Ranveer is like, okay, so that always happens. But yes, it has to be that the actor gives in to the director, only then the story would come out the way
I
it is.
think an actor will always have perspective about
Correct.
the film
Correct,
being made.
correct.
It's on director to say yes and no.
Yes.
A very big director once told me that when he was working with Salman had 10 suggestions. Of that, 6 would be bad. 4 would be so good that it would take the film to another level. It's about identifying
Correct.
those 4
Correct.
and saying no to those 6.
6.
When that synergy happens, every actor will have that.
Of course.
कि मैं opinion दूंगा. Now it's on the director to say yes or no. So that's why for the bigger stars, it's about working with the right directors. They'll surrender.
Yeah.
When they know कि director कोई काम नहीं आ रहा है, director कर रहा है क्योंकि मेरी dates है उसके पास. Why would I take you seriously? Why would I? Ali has done a great job of working with Salman in all the films.
True.
Kabir has done a great job.
So has Sid with Hrithik.
So has Sid with Hrithik. So has Atlee with Shah Rukh.
And I think that's one big difference between, if you're talking North and South, I've had the good fortune to work in both the industries very, very strongly. It's not the actors, it's not the directors, it's not the marketing, it is the audience. Over there,
100%.
the audiences just need to be told that a film is releasing, they will come to the cinema.
Yeah.
In Hindi, and I'm not saying good or bad, it is just the nature. In Hindi, you have to really convince him that trust us, this is worth your money.
Yeah.
That's maybe because we've cheated them enough number of times by saying
They've been
कि बहुत
scarred.
अच्छा है and they've been scarred.
Yeah.
Or maybe the DNA is such where I've seen that in South, watching a film over a weekend, Jammy, is not a
It's routine.
it is not a luxury, or it is not कि चल आज कुछ करते हैं.
Yeah.
It is like you go to the temple, you go and watch a film.
Yeah.
So यहाँ पे वैसा नहीं है.
यहाँ पे भी ऐसा था, but we have taken it away with the ridiculous pricing. Now
Absolutely.
I will think 5 times before watching a film.
or buying snacks.
Snacks तो मैं जा ही
वही
रहा हूँ.
But seriously,
मैं-
can we not have differential pricing in a manner like why right now what you are saying is सुबह morning ticket 500 का है for a पुष्पा. अगर मैंने एक फिल्म बनाई ही 10 करोड़ में है, मैं क्यों उसकी प्राइसिंग भी 250 और 500
Everyone is greedy. अरे I'm saying one of the main reason I had tweeted this back then for Lapata ladies to not
Yeah.
do the I
Yeah.
think Lapata ladies would have done at least 10 to 15 crore more if it was priced right. Lapata ladies was ridiculous pricing. They priced it as if it's a event film. I watched the film 10:30 am show on the first day, 250 rupees morning show. Now there are no names. It is produced by Amir Khan. Yes, I respect that.
True.
But there is no Amir Khan in the film.
Correct. And people know that. It's
People
not
know
yeah.
that. Now, लापता ladies आप 250 and 450 multiplex में रख रहे हो. Why will I pay it?
That's what
you
I feel.
keep लापता ladies at 150.
Your
and you
recovery
will see
be
the
faster.
difference.
Your walk-ins will be more. Your
You
recovery will be
market the
faster.
film as
Absolutely.
a film for Aam Janta
Correct.
with 150 ka
Correct.
ticket. You see how many people will go once that word of mouth spreads.
So because I've been trying to give this suggestion in the meetings that I have, and the thing is that no, it's perception. If we sell our film less, it looks like it's a cheap film.
Yeah.
I'm saying at least do it. You are just making it affordable. It doesn't mean it's cheap.
Yeah.
I think in South, Satyam cinemas for the longest time had a cap that you cannot go more than 120
Yeah.
or 130 rupees per ticket. How cool is that?
yeah, that
At least.
and making your film tickets cheap doesn't mean that your film is cheap.
You are
It's not reflective
increasing
of
your,
quality.
You are increasing your target. You just keep on saying आजकल इतने ही लोग फिल्में देखने आ रहे हैं. You are increasing that.
यार मैं जब कॉलेज में था, मेरे कॉलेज के बाजू में एक थिएटर था सन सिटी.
Correct.
ठीक है. Morning show was priced at ₹70. Me and my group of friends used to watch every single film on Friday morning at 70 to the extent that after a point of time कोई एक Friday release नहीं थी, हम लोग क्लास में थे, हम लोग की टीचर हम लोग को बोल रही थी that how are you in class today, you all didn't go to watch movie, and we are like no आज
कोई रिलीज नहीं
रिलीज ही नहीं हुई है.
It's such a contrast, no? Cinema is dying narrative. Let's not make it accessible also.
Yeah, cinema is dying because it is not accessible.
That's what I'm saying,
Today, we should actually go to the ground and do a survey in colleges. Why don't you go to watch movie on Friday morning? I can vouch for the fact that 80 on 100 people will say tickets are expensive. It is the writing on the wall. कि भाई टिकट महंगी है इसके लिए मैं नहीं जा रहा हूँ, लेकिन नहीं हमको केटर करना है हाई क्लास ऑडियंस को and make the pricing at 300 and all.
Or employ these agencies and make sure then kids are watching it.
वो तो
Not even your right TG.
वो तो अलग ही है यार. मतलब
but
we
that's
need
the
to
whole
cater,
point.
we need to see the audience who is coming to watch films. But I think if we keep speaking, I think the restaurant people might have to serve us lunch, dinner, everything.
Or nothing.
No. I'm hungry now. But it was a great conversation. I hope you all also had a great time.
Absolutely.
And to many more from here on.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Himesh.
here's to a great 25 at the box office.
And cheers to being honest with films in
Yeah.
whatever professions we are.
I hope we don't land in trouble.
Wait till the video drops.
The editor has a great job right now to work
Yeah.
on it. But
yeah, cheers to great 25
Yes.
for Hindi cinema and for Indian cinema.
absolutely
yes, for
looking
sure.
forward. Thank you, Himesh.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Himesh.
Thank you.